think something's going on here. Can't remember if I'm supposed to get back to this or not. Oh, it says 18. Okay. Ah, there we go. Phone device, phone. Alright, I'm not a big fan of the way Prism does this. And we'll see how all this goes. I'm not sure what's going on with it, but we are going to try and do this live stream. Where did my... There we go. See how Prism works with this. I think I'm going to have to go back to OBS and make sure I get all the other stuff done. I need to move this out here. Huh. I don't know about where this toolbar is. That doesn't make any sense. There we go. One of the things that I have seen with my new iPad and the new mouse, or pencil, is that, oh no, of course now I need the, there we go. That works better. Okay. No, not select. Here we go. Alright. Find the 1010 line. Is that it's got, you can push button on the pencil now, and oh, that's way out of there. Alright, well, anyway, back to the weather. So I saw some things that were ramping up today for a rather interesting event. Yesterday when I was out, everything looked like it was marginal down in our area. Now it's a slight risk all the way down to us. It's going to be a little getting used to how that works, but and now I wake up and I was looking at Mitch West's opening, and he had there's a big enhanced area in from East Texas down to the Hill Country, and slight risk all the way down the coastal bend. It was like, oh my goodness. It's going to be times like this where I'm going to feel bad that I left the office, because that kind of leaves them a little short-handed in severe weather events. But 14. Oh. Okay, let's try the nice. Whoops. Oh, there's a... I want to just switch tools. There we go. Yeah. What am I doing? Jeez, so out of practice. That was one of the things with the Weather Service, is that you don't do as many analyzed maps. I tried to keep up with this when I was at work with my tablet instead of using colored pencils on everything. And it's like, and that was great. It's just that I couldn't keep up with it. Just too hard. Oh, that was 16s. There we go. Yeah, like I said, getting used to this Apple Pencil. There's a double tap I can do, and it will change over to the eraser. Okay, let's see, 1018. So the high is still in the place where it was supposed to be. Okay, let's see, that's a 1010 line, so let's go inside the tune. 1008. And one of the things I noticed before I left, and you can kind of see it here. Oh, there's a 1006, 1006. Oh, okay. I'm going to switch over to this pencil. I'm going to put it down, and I want that. Okay. Got to get this thing marked up. You can kind of see the low here. That circulation going. And these are more like dry lines. Look at the way that I could point. Well, I guess I could just delete it. But yeah, so you've got 59, 48, dew point of 1, dew point of 7. That's just amazing. Anyway, I need to switch back to. But yeah, it's this dry line and trough coming down towards the coast. That has been, there's typically something out here in the Mexican deserts slash mountains. It just gets so warm that you end up with a heat low. But it also helps when big systems are coming across that try to develop coming out of the Rockies. And they tend to feed off of that low. So let's see here. Oh yeah. I need to go back. I gotta get rid of that. All right. Let's see. Where were we? 12. There's a 14. Oh, here we go. Could have gone 12 all the way down here. Dire Straits is playing in my head. And there's a 1012. Yeah, so that's the trough. There's some 12. Oh, probably would have been better that way. That's the thing about this. Oh yeah, definitely. One nice thing about using an Apple Pencil to do this is when your analysis, you suddenly realize, is not what it should be. You can erase it. There we go. There's the trough. No, I didn't ask for that. Let's see where we're at. We'll go with a 16 line. it all nice and complete. Yeah, 1016. Well, there's definitely a trough and probably a cold front. Let's see here, let's get, change that color over to blue. Okay. The only thing about down here in South Texas is that these things, this time of year, stop being true cold fronts. If you look on both sides of the boundary, it's temperatures are not all that different. Dew points might be a bit, but it's really out here in the west. Let's see, let's change that one. Change that color to, do a nice little brown, I think. And you can kind of see, that's not what I asked for. Dry line out here. Although there's not much of a push behind it, so we'll see what it goes, and then we'll figure that out later. Back to blue, and we'll go ahead and mark the high up here. Put the cold front. I guess you could. There is a circulation there. We'll put one in here. I didn't look that closely at the 9Z WPC one to give me kind of a guide. I sometimes do that, but oh yeah, then there's the, here, let's get the eraser out. Let's erase this part. Okay. Go back to red. Oh yeah. No, that's so much of a warm push, it's just another cold front. Let's go back to blue. Sometimes they do this. Now, my old iPad Pro in pencil, this was a little darker, but I've got the pen maxed out thickness wise and intensity wise, so I'm a little but that's the basics of it. Guess we could go over here and finish. Let's see, I saw 1018. Okay. 18. And we'll see how all this works. So far, everything looks pretty good on, as far as I can tell on the stream. Okay, we are going to say done, and we're going to save file 2, because I like to keep these. Keep it in the old folder that says work transfer. It's not what I'm actually doing anymore, considering that I no longer work for the Weather Service, which is why I'm doing this. Oh, there it is. We needed to get a folder, and we were going to call it 04. We're going to open it up, and we're going to put another one in there, and we're going to call this Oh, I'll change the name on that one. Oh, 2. And we'll save this one here. Go back and change that. I use a numbering system on my tablets, or on my when I do those. Anyway, but to tell you what's going on. Yeah, this is what I was greeted with this morning on Mitch West's channel, and he's not the only person that I've watched that's kind of inspired me. I've kind of done this in the past before. A lot of other meteorologists started doing it. Oh, and non-Mets too, but see what I can bring to the space, if there's anything. So, but as I said, there's a big area of let's see here. I'll do the markup so I can kind of look at show stuff, but this is the area we're really concerned with here. You know, Corpus Christi, where we're at now, is in the slight risk down here in the coastal bend. And just kind of to show you, I'm gonna delete that one. And I am going to go to my tab. And one of my things was to pre-plan how I was going to do these. And I have SPC Outlook CWA. Oh. And of course, I'm having a slowness issue with Starlink. Stop it. There we go. This is what I want to do. That's what I want. This is what I need to have bookmarked. Okay. So, we're going to go CWA, and we're going to click down here. Oh, I gotta select CWA up here. Oh, of course, SPC. Well, they're probably getting inundated. Who knows what's going on up there now? Well, in that case, we'll just kind of move on. See if I can. And part of it is. There we go. Okay, so this is for the Corpus Christi office, focused on the forecast area. The tornado outlook is only, get the pencil going here again, markup. I just want to mark this up. Now, usually what I do is I take a screenshot, and that's the thing. I'm just, this is kind of the trial run for me to get my workflow down. But anyway, yeah. So, Victoria is in the north part of the forecast area, which is roughly this. And then Laredo, Baffin Bay. Okay. So, you don't have much of a, at least in the tornado outlook. Severe weather outlook, though, it's enhanced. It's mostly due to the wind here, and they've got hail. And then if you look at the hatchings, that is due to a greater than 10% for significant hail, greater than 2 inches. And most of this is going to be up in the EWX, that's the San Antonio Austin office, up in New Braunfels. Day 2 looks like it's just general thunder. Nothing. Most of it is marginal down in the. Oh, I guess in the southern part of the CWA there. Kind of see that there. And it cuts off part of Webb County. Oops, Cotulla. There we go. Kind of give you an idea. So Kingsville to Laredo. This has a marginal. And there's a marginal severe wind and severe hail. Days 4 through 8, something else comes in, and that's what we were noticing at the office, is that we get a sort of a train of systems coming across the southern Rockies, giving us energy, and whether or not it gets anything down into the Corpus Christi area is another question. Do that. I'm going to delete that file. I'm going to switch over the tabs. So far, we got that. There's WPC, see if the 12Z's in yet. Nope. But you can see I had the basic ideas down. There's the front over here, or the dry line, and then the front running up into Oklahoma and up into Arkansas. Let's see here, Weather Prediction Center. So by the afternoon, they're expecting everything to kind of like go through. Doesn't look like the Corpus Christi area gets anything until late in the evening. Heavy rains was one of the more concerning effects. And we'll just take a look at this. There is a zoomed in view like this, but I have lost the bookmark for it. Maybe this afternoon I'll try to open up some of my old work bookmarks that I saved on my computer and try to get things over here on my tablet. But I think I'm going to go back to OBS and try to do the analysis that way, and then have everything up tab-wise on my computer, and then I can talk about it and highlight things a little bit differently. Let's see here. But that's the concern. So we got it to a slight. There is the interactive one. Where's that? That's one of the things about WPC. They'll give you the national one, but then they don't give you a link directly to the interactive one to be able to zoom in on it. Excessive rainfall. There we go. I'm going to pull up CWAs, and I am going to zoom into Corpus Christi. Here we go. I'm going to zoom in a little more. See, so they have a slight risk of getting, which is at least a 15% chance of flash flooding, of exceeding flash flooding guidance within 25 miles of a point. So if you're sitting in Victoria, you have a 15% chance of something happening within 20 miles of you. That could be right there where you're at, or it could be, in was it El Campo or something like that. I think El Campo is about 25 miles out. Yeah, so those are the things to beware of. A little bit less here along the coastal bend itself. Kind of zoom in. I was never a big fan of this one. I mean, it's nice with the interactive part of it, but these little lines have always been a bit of an issue. But they do have one similar to the SPC somewhere, but I don't have the bookmark. So, day 2, more rain south of Laredo, Kingsville area. Actually, it's probably all the way down to Baffin Bay, so it pretty much isn't in the Corpus Christi area. It's in Brownsville's area. So that's a marginal for tomorrow. Day 3, nothing in that area. Day 4, looks like something up in West Texas, almost into the Panhandle. Yeah, definitely up into the Panhandle, up to Amarillo. And then East Texas on day 5, which is Tuesday, Wednesday. So let's see here. Let's get back. Let's kind of take a look. An 8 to 14 day outlook. We are in a pattern where we could get some more rain down this way. So, but let's zoom in on the precip one. Oh, not that. That's the hazards outlook. 8 to 14 day interactive. Let's do. All right. Here's the temperatures. We will be below normal, probably because of the fact that it's expected to be cloudy with rain falling over the next 8 to 14 days. So starting May 9th through the 15th. So let's go to the precipitation. But that also lends to the fact that they might get above normal precipitation. Now, this is the time of year when things start to change over and we get to a more wetter pattern down here. Well, just across the United States in general. It's usually the time when most of the rain falls. And I was just going to take a little bit look at pivotal weather here, and we'll see what's causing all this. As I talked about, let's update to the right one. Back here to the beginning. All right. Yeah, I definitely need some tools to be able to do this more than just what Apple gives me for the tablet. I need to be able to illustrate some things a little bit better than just doing a markup, but that's what I got for now. So in this case, let's see, what time is this? This is 0Z. So by this evening, here, let's change the color. Do yellow. Yeah. Blue. Yeah, we can kind of say this is the line, the cold front. You can see the trough up there. A lot of little low pressure systems. Here's the main one way up here. So that's where it's going. Oh, I can't move this. That's the only problem. Huh. That's at 7 o'clock tonight. Delete that one. Yeah. So let's do this. Regional. Yeah, so here's 0Z, 7 o'clock tonight, and then overnight rain. It doesn't look like it's, at least the GFS is saying that it's not that severe. So let's switch over to one of the convection allowing models. Oh, and the HRR. Goes out 48 hours during this time frame. Now the HER would say that stuff up near, say Victoria, Copano Bay, Rockport, North would be the heavier stuff. Some of it tries to get into Corpus Christi. Of course, if you know, Corpus Christi's in a pretty good drought here. I haven't had a whole lot of rain and the reservoirs are falling off. And one of the things is the basin for the Nueces River that feeds it is up in this area. And that's one of the things, is that we're looking for stuff that's coming through. And if this is the case, they're going to, hopefully, they'll get several rounds of rain coming up here. But so there's enough that goes into the Nueces River Basin that at least in the next 24 hours, that will help. And like I said, we kind of are getting into a wetter pattern anyway, so that's not what I wanted. Go back to the models. Okay. GFS. Regional. Let's take a look at another one. GFS. Convection allowing. Up in northern Michigan, the NAM nest was usually pretty good. Yeah. So by 0Z, stuff's impinging, but then it falls apart. And that would not be a surprise. Let's take a look at the ARW. Now, I would say this. The ARW was always pretty good at... Oh, is this the 0Z? Oh, it's still the 0Z. The 12Z isn't in yet. Oh, it doesn't have a 6Z. That's right. The ARW is really good with wintertime convection in that lake effect snow in northern Michigan. And it wasn't bad down here during the wintertime, but it does have problems sometimes with the thunderstorms. It'll get a little too overly aggressive. Although, this looks a lot like with kind of the GFS idea, with rain coming down into the right through the heart of the river basin and some decent thunderstorms. Let's just take a look at the QPF. It's a 6-hour QPF, so this is last night's run. The new run won't be in until after the balloon, which only launched at 6 a.m., so it should be done, but we can take a look at some of the data coming out of that. But yeah, so an inch and a half, inch and a quarter, 3/4 of an inch. That's not bad for 6 hours. And a little bit more after that. And they need a lot more though, because Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon, the lake at Choke Canyon there was, the reservoir up there is, they're mighty low. Let's see here. All right, well with that, I think I will wind this up, and I'll work on getting OBS rolling again on my computer. But I know that this mic system that I have works with both the tablet and my computer, so we'll hook it up to that. There's less wires. Everything is more wireless now than it was when I first started doing this, probably 5 or 6 years ago, just to play around with everything. Let's see if there's a new 12Z. Nope. A little on the slow side with getting a new analysis out, but oh, that's what I want to do. SPC. Let's go back. And I want their forecast tools. No, not the forecast tools. Open. Here we go. Observe sounding. And of course, I'm waiting for SPC to load up. There we go. Go to the latest one here. Corpus Christi. There we go. All right, we got 1.5 inches of water. Let's see what we can do here. Let's mark this up so you can see it. Oops. Do this. There's the precipitable water, so there's about 1.5 inches of water in it. So if anything was slow enough, that would cause some issues. Let's see here. Surface layer cape is 33.9 with very little capping, and you can kind of see that. Let's see if I can zoom in on this right in here. Or here's the cap, but so there's very little capping. Even the mixed layer is only 42. Wouldn't take much as the front comes down here. So we'll see where everything goes here for the overnight. Decent little turning in the 0 to 1. So I see why they've kicked things up a notch. Let's see here. Right now, yeah, so there's a potential for tornadic. More likely it's going to be straight line winds, but see what the mode is on this thing when it comes out. All right. Delete that and go back to that. Okay, we'll close this out. I think I've drone on enough, so